So today, I figured we would look back on one of the creepypasta classics. One of the old urban legends that spread through all of the elementary schools. Or at least it did in mine. In particular, I remember growing up, the three characters everyone insisted was real, consistently, was Slender Man, of course, Jeff the Killer, of course, and Eyeless Jack. There were some stragglers who insisted that Laughing Jack was real, but those were few and far between. For the most part, it was those big three that everybody knew about back in the day. So I figured that today we would look through some of the most iconic tellings of the Eyeless Jack story, and believe me, there is several. Without further ado, let us begin with the original, the iconic Hello, my name is Mitch. I'm here to tell you guys about an experience I had. I don't know if it was paranormal or whatever stupid words people use to describe supernatural phenomena. But after that thing visited me, I believe in that paranormal trash now. Why is he like this? Mitch is an asshole. Oh my god. A week after I moved in with my brother, Edwin, after my house was foreclosed, I finished unpacking. Wow, I'm sorry, that sentence fucked me up. Oh my god. This is gonna be great. I can already tell. Edwin liked the idea of me moving in, since we had not seen each other for 10 years. So I was excited, too. Soon fell asleep after I moved in. After that first week, I heard rustling noises coming from outside at about 1 in the morning. I thought it was a raccoon, so I ignored it and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, I told Edwin about it, and he agreed. The next night, however, I thought I heard my window opening and a loud thump, as if something entered my room. I darted up and looked around my room, but I saw nothing. The next morning, Edwin dropped his coffee cup when he saw me. He held up a nearby mirror, and I saw myself. I had a large gash in my left cheek. After I was rushed to the hospital, my doctor told me that I must have been sleepwalking, but then he showed me something that made my blood turn cold. He lifted up my shirt to reveal a sewn-up incision where my kidneys were. I stared into his eyes, mine widening.
"Yeah, you somehow lost your left kidney last night," my doctor told me. "We don't know how, though. Sorry, Mitch."
What? What?
So you're experiencing total organ failure. No clue how that's happening, bro. Yeah, so someone ripped your belly open and took your kidneys out. No clue, man. Anyway, you get on home, Mitch, you little so-and-so, you.
What fucking doctor is this? What fucking backwoods hillbilly school did this doctor graduate from? The next night was my breaking point. Around midnight, I woke up to see a truly horrifying sight. I was staring face to face with a creature with a black hoodie and dark blue mask, with no nose or mouth, staring down at me. The thing that scared me the most was that it had no eyes, just empty black sockets. The creature also had some black substance dripping from its sockets. I grabbed the camera from the nearby mantel and took a picture. Immediately after taking the shot, the creature lunged at me and tried to claw open my chest to get to my lungs. I stopped it by kicking it in the face. As I ran out of my room, I grabbed my wallet. I would need the money. I ran out of my brother's house into the night. I eventually ended up in the woods near Edwin's house and tripped on a rock. I'm sorry, I had to go into a trance to finish reading that, without making any sort of comment or anything. What does he need? What does he mean he would need the money? Does he not have a cell phone? Can he not just call the police? I get it. But he ran out. Why didn't he get in his car? Does he own a car? How old is Mitch? Do we know how old Mitch is? Because it says he's living in a house on his own. So clearly, surely he's 33 or something, right? Right? It's just an 11-year-old? Is that what's happening? Is this an 11-year-old who got his piggy bank out and he got some pennies so he could use a payphone to fucking call the cops? What's going on here? I think we need someone to investigate this family situation. I think is what we need. I fell unconscious and woke up in the hospital. My doctor, the same one who treated me before, entered the room.
I have good news and bad news, Mitch, my doctor started. The good news is that you had minor injuries, and your parents are going. Your parents? Okay, so is this like an 11-year-old then?
Well, okay, wait. No, you can be 33 and have parents. Sorry, I forgot about how the world works. Sorry.
The good news is that you had minor injuries, and your parents are going to pick you up.
I sighed with relief.
The bad news is that your brother has been killed by something. Sorry.
Sorry. Could you fucking imagine? Can you imagine that? Oh my god. Can you imagine your brother gets murdered and that's how they tell you?
Yeah, so your brother got killed by some... I don't know. Sorry.
This is the most useless doctor ever. I'm not saying that like he should solve the mystery. I like surely you would just be like, oh, and we regret to inform you that your brother is deceased, who was found murdered in his home. Or my condolences to the family. This is truly awful. Like there's no empathy at all. He's just like,
yeah, sorry about that. You're missing the kidney and your brother's gone. Whoops.
Parents took me back to Edwin's house to collect my remaining belongings, which I did. Upon entering my room, I was scared but remained calm. I grabbed my camera and then stopped dead in my tracks. In the hallway, leading to my room, I saw Edwin's body and something small lying next to it. I retrieved it up and entered my parents' car, not mentioning Edwin's corpse. I looked at the thing I had picked up and nearly vomited. I was holding my stolen, half-eaten kidney with some black substance on it. That is Eyeless Jack, everybody. That was the original. That was the OG Jack. The OG Eyeless Jack. What a story, you know? What a story. Truly iconic in its own right. Okay, truly iconic. I honestly, I do think it's a shame that the author felt so pressured to take it down after Jeff the Killer got removed. I mean, talk about snobbery, right? Like,
oh, even though the story's iconic, it's written poorly, so we just need to get rid of it.
Why? Who cares? Like, who gives a fuck? Who cares? People are imitating the story and writing too many crappy killer fan fictions. Who cares? Why does it matter? Does it mean... So was somebody going to write, was the author of Baraska, was she gonna write Baraska? But then all of a sudden, Jeff the Killer didn't get enlisted. She's like, I'm gonna make Jane the Killer instead, actually. Like, no, clearly, good things would still be written, and bad things would still be written. That's just, the matter of creative writing, that's how it works. That's how these open forums are supposed to work. When you start policing things like this, it kind of kills the entire spirit for me, right? I don't think the point of these sites should be curating a baseline level of quality, right? It shouldn't be like, you have to be this good of a writer to upload here. I think that's completely ridiculous. It's so pompous. It's so up your own ass, Like, I've been hearing about that happening recently with the no sleep moderation. They've been getting really, really strict and demanding with their stories. And it's like, why? Why can't you just be a creative writing haven? Just make, obviously some basic rules, like, make sure your story is at least bare minimum, like a page long, something like that. No two-sentence horror story, none of that kind of thing. And, make sure it's, vaguely horror focused, because that's, the point of our forum. And then that should be it. Realistically, that should be all the rules that there are. Bad writing is just as valuable as good writing, okay? It really is. It's valuable in different ways, but still just as valuable, I would say. So I guess to summarize my thoughts here, there isn't really much to analyze with the story, other than that I think the Doctor was probably Eyeless Jack because of how heartless he is the entire story. That's my fan theory right there, is that the Doctor is in fact Eyeless Jack, and he's part of like a weird underground organ trading thing, so he's stealing people's organs at night. There you go. That's my analysis of the story. Hope you like it. But the broader point here is that if you've written anything cringy, or let's say You're writing something cringy right now. And you think that too. You're writing it and you go, ooh, this story isn't good. Post it anyway. Who cares, you know? If people make fun of you, give you your licks online, give you some bad comments, you know, disregard them. Who cares? Most of those people are never going to write anything anyway. You win automatically by writing something and not having any shame in posting it. This is You Can't Trust Everyone. November 6, 2015. Oh boy. I'm not really sure how to properly start these types of stories, but I'm going to try to get to the point as fast as possible. See, I'm kind of on a timer here. I'm currently writing this on one of the computers in the library at my college. As I type, I feel like I'm being watched from the shadows. I know it sounds crazy, but I need to get this story out somehow. Nobody here will believe anything I say. I'm falling behind on all of my schoolwork to the point where I might be put on academic probation. I also got fired from my part-time job because I was scaring the customers. You and me both, buddy. Anyways, I want to at least do something so I can tell myself this was all worth it. Even still, it might not even matter in the end. Last year, I met a guy named Jack Driscoll. He was a pretty chill dude for the most part, and we actually became pretty good friends. My name is Ethan, by the way, and I'm currently finishing up my senior year in college. Well, trying to finish up my senior year. Anyways, as I was saying, Jack and I started to become good friends after we found out we were pretty much into all the same stuff. We liked the same types of video games, the same movie genres, and even had the same taste in clothes. Not gonna elaborate on that. Not gonna elaborate on what those genres and clothes could entail. Okay, I had other friends, sure, but nobody that was interested in the same things I was. Sadly, this all changed last winter. Jack started hanging out with a girl from one of our classes named Elisa. It wasn't long before he asked her out and the two became an item. At first, I was happy for him. He never had the best luck with the ladies, so it was nice to see him with someone who genuinely liked him. We would all hang out from time to time, and she came off as a really nice girl. Hell, I even found myself getting a little jealous. About a month into their relationship, I noticed things started to change. Jack would stop hanging out with his friends and spent more time with Elisa. At first, I figured this was normal. A lot of people will want to spend more time with their significant other, obviously. And there really isn't anything wrong with that. I'd still see him, and we'd play video games online together after class, so I didn't think too much of it. Then, things started to get weird. One morning, the two of us were waiting in line at the cafeteria. The food at our school wasn't the best, but it was fine for what it was. We got there a little late, so the line was already pretty long, but nothing we weren't used to.
Well, I guess we should have got here earlier, huh?
Jack didn't say anything.
Hey, buddy. Still asleep?
I joked as I nudged his shoulder. "Shut up," he murmured. I was taken aback by his response, since he sounded genuinely angry.
I'm only joking,
I explained.
Did you not get enough sleep last night, or what?
This line is too fucking long. I need to get out of here. Some of the other students started staring at us now. Jack realized this and turned around. "You got a problem?" he yelled at one of the girls behind us. The girl froze and grabbed her friend's hand.
Dude, what the hell? Calm down. You're scaring the chicks.
I yelled back. I had no idea why he was acting like this. It wasn't like him at all. Jack didn't say a word. Instead, he just turned towards the door and ran out of the building. That's how it's spelled, by the way. Turned towards the door. So you can't get mad at me for reading what's written. After that incident, I didn't talk to him. I did try to get his attention in class for a while, but it was no use. After a few days, I stopped trying altogether. After a week, Jack stopped showing up to class. One night, I ran into Elisa in the hallway. I was done with classes for the day and was ready to head back to my apartment.
Hey, Elisa,
I said with a smile. "Oh, hi, Ethan," she said, smiling back. For some reason, her smile sent a chill down my spine. Why did she seem so happy when her boyfriend was clearly not doing well? I adjusted my backpack before I spoke again.
So, what's up with Jack? Is he okay?
Elisa looked up, almost like she was thinking of the answer to a math problem. She turned back to me and answered cheerfully, "Oh, he's perfectly fine," she said with a grin. "He's actually better than ever."
Oh, okay.
I said, clearly unconvinced.
Well, in that case, could you tell him that...
"Better than ever," she interrupted. This startled me. I wasn't sure why, but something about this girl suddenly felt sinister. She walked away, leaving me standing there in my confusion. I snapped out of the weird trance I was in. That voice is killing my throat, man. That nerd voice is fucking me up.
This is stupid.
I thought to myself.
I'll just try calling him again.
I had called him before, but stopped trying when I was convinced he wouldn't pick up. That night, I decided to call him up and ask if I could come over. To my surprise, he answered immediately. "Yo," Jack answered.
Hey man, what's up?
I asked. "What do you want?"
Is everything okay with you? You seemed, off lately.
Silence.
Hello?
"Are you home?"
Yeah? Why?
I'm coming over." After Jack told me he was on his way, the call ended. I'm not going to lie, I was pretty scared. The tone of his voice sounded panicked, almost like he was trying to get out of whatever situation he was in. About 45 minutes after the phone call, I heard a knock at my door.
Hey!
I said as I greeted Jack at the door.
What's up, bro?
I tried to remain as calm as possible. It was obvious once I saw him that something was seriously wrong with the guy. I don't know, he whispered as his eyes darted back and forth. "Are you alone?" I nodded my head and let the poor guy in. He sat down on the old couch I had set up in front of the TV. My roommates were out for the night, so I wasn't really worried about anyone coming back anytime soon.
Dude, what is going on with you?
Turn off the lights, please. Turn off the lights. I froze for a minute.
Jack? You're scaring me. What's going on?
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Turn off the lights. She can't find me. I did as I was told. This was turning out to be worse than I could have ever imagined.
Are you talking about Elisa?
I asked, my voice trembling slightly. I don't know if that was quite trembling, but but whatever. This guy's Stone Cold Steve Austin. He doesn't fear nothing. He don't fear nothing. This guy don't fear nothing.
Did she do something to you?
Jack didn't answer. I put my hand on his shoulder.
Dude, I want to help you, but there's nothing I can do if I don't know what's going on.
Jack was violently tapping his fingers on his legs. He continued to stare at the ground as he answered me. There's nothing wrong with her, man. There's nothing wrong. I think she's like, maybe a part of a cult? I raised my eyebrows.
Huh?
I could tell he was scared, but this was a little much. Even still, she must have done something pretty messed up to him for Jack to think this way.
Why do you say that?
I asked.
Also, have you asked anybody for help? If she's scaring you that badly, you know you can go to the police, right?
I can't. He jerked his head to face me, and I almost threw up. I almost threw up? What? Jack was crying, but his tears were black. Oh, okay. Sorry, that was a preemptive reaction on my part. I would probably throw up. Well, no. I would just assume it's like mascara. No, you know what? No, that reaction's still weird. That's still a fucking weird reaction. Your friend goes, I can't. Like, what? I thought I was seeing things at first, since the lights were off, but he confirmed my suspicions with what he said next. She did this to me, man. She did this. I don't know how, but I know it was her. He continued to cry. Continued to cry. The black liquid staining the couch cushions like ink. The other night, she caught me crying these gross fucking tears and said that I was ready, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. I didn't know how to answer him. This was totally beyond my realm of understanding, and I knew there was nothing I could say that would give him any relief.
We'll figure something out,
I said, after about a minute of total silence.
but we should call the police. You should also go to the hospital. Whatever is going on with your eyes can't be good and needs to be looked at.
Jack wiped his face with the sleeve of his hoodie.
She can't find me.
She can't find me, he said, calming down a little. If she finds me, I'll... Jack fell silent as we heard a soft knock at my front door.
Jackie, I know you're in there.
It was a girl's voice.
It's time to go. They're waiting for us. Your friend can come too if he wants to.
Jack sprung up from the couch, ran toward the back door, and disappeared into the woods behind my apartment.
Jack, wait!
I yelled. It was useless. I raced after my friend while dialing 911 on my cell. I told police what was happening, and they assured me officers would be on their way as soon as they could. Before I could respond, something hit me over the head, and I blacked out. What happened next still seems like a horrible nightmare, but I know what I saw was real. When I eventually came to, I was tied to a tree trunk. There were several figures standing in a circle around another figure who was strapped to a chair. As my vision returned, I could see that each figure was wearing a long black robe and a blue mask. I focused on the figure in the chair. It was Jack. I tried to scream, but my mouth was taped shut. I finally came to the horrid conclusion that I was not only present in the middle of a cult meeting, but I was about to witness a human sacrifice. One of the cultists walked towards Jack and lifted its mask. It was Elisa. Grabbing his chin, she pulled his face close to hers and gave him a kiss. He pulled back and began swearing at the girl. I didn't blame him. I had a couple of things I wanted to say myself, but I couldn't due to my own restraints. Another, taller cultist began to read from an old-looking black book. As he read, a number of other cultists swarmed Jack like hungry vultures. One cultist taped his mouth shut, while two held down his chair. I watched in horror as a fourth cultist pulled out a rusty-looking tool. The cultist plunged the tool into each of Jack's eyes, slowly tearing them out. The blood that rushed from his eye sockets appeared thick now, like tar. To finish it off, the cultist that had taken Jack's eyes fixed a blue mask to his face. He was still alive, but for how much longer I had no idea. As one of the cultists kept reading from the book, the ground beneath Jack began to tremble. Black tendrils sprouted up like demonic weeds. Some of the tendrils wrapped around his waist, others his ankles, and one even plunged itself down his throat. I was beginning to pass out. Suddenly, I heard sirens in the distance. This caused the cultist who was reading to stop.
"What are you doing, you idiot?"
One of the other cultists screamed.
"If you stop now, he'll..."
Ground stopped shaking, and the tendrils retreated back to whatever hell they came from. Everyone went silent. The cultists all seemed to freeze, and, for a moment, almost looked like statues. The silence was broken by a faint, sinister laughter coming from Jack.
You made him mad,
Jack hissed. These were the last words I ever heard my friend say. I watched him break free from his bonds like they were nothing. Jack charged each cultist, tearing them apart and splattering their entrails all over the frost-covered ground. My vision started to go, and the sounds of the screaming cultists seemed to fade into the distance. I only wish I had totally passed out before hearing that horrible crunching, the sound of bones breaking and organs being devoured. My former friend was eating his captors, and I was sure I would be next. I woke up to a police officer shining a light in my face.
"He's up! Quick, we need a paramedic over here!"
I sat up and looked around.
I'm alive?
I mumbled, still in a haze.
"I know you just went through some shit, kid, but is there anything you can tell us about what happened?"
The officer asked.
Oh my god, leave him alone.
Another officer ordered.
We can question him after we get him out of this hellhole. The kid's got a massive cut on his side.
Oh, let me guess, the kidney's gonna... Oh, that kidney's gone. Oh, you best believe that kidney is no longer in that guy's body.
"Right, sorry, kid."
I looked down and noticed my shirt was soaked in my own blood. I couldn't feel anything due to my current state, but it looked bad. I didn't speak the entire way to the hospital. I didn't know what to say. Things got even worse when the doctor told me that, while I would survive, I was missing one of my kidneys. It's been a little over a year now since this all went down. Everyone has already heard about it on the news, and the school came under some heavy fire for not noticing something this big happening near their campus. Jack Driscoll is still missing, and is currently responsible for the murders of 10 students and the attempted murder of 1. I've gone on for long enough at this point. I guess I just really needed to get it all out somehow. I still don't know what the cult was for, why it was formed, or what it was trying to summon. Obviously, nobody will look into this further, because it sounds too ridiculous, but I'm hoping someone reading this will. If not, then I guess just be careful. You can't trust everyone, after all.